Coffee and Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee and Pan Dulce.
Hey, I'm Christian Cano. You're the co-host. My buttons are Moms Demand Action, Gunsmiths Legislation, Healthcare for All, Medicare for All, and also in my heart, Black Lives Matter on behalf of Joe Oldham, who's a guest of ours who passed away last year. That's it.
Hello, this is Jenny James Gunn. I am a community advocate here in Charlotte, North Carolina for LGBT women's rights with the National Organization for Women, gun sense laws with Moms Demand Action, and anything that extends equity to all. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It is Coffee and Pan Dulce time. Oh, I got it right this time.
Whoa, good
It
job.
is October 29th. It is the eve of Halloween Eve, and we actually have a Halloween on a Friday night this year.
Wow, that's scary.
And I think a lot of people have got a lot of pent-up partying in them, too. I think it's going to be pretty wild. But anyway, it is October 29th, the last show. But most importantly, for you guys keeping track at home, it's the 5th bonus Wednesday of the month.
Do it.
Real rare.
Here we go. Here we go.
If you've been a long-time listener, you know this is coming. We got guns that look like knives, knives that look like guns. Sunday. Come get your treats. Come bring your kids. Maybe even trick or treat with some bullets. I don't know. But come get your gift wrapped guns and knives. Sunday. Our tradition we started several years ago. I did it on the Lark one time because certain months have 5 Wednesdays depending on how the calendar fills. It's usually a 31-day month like October. And just look at the draw. We get this 5th bonus episode. We don't charge extra for it because we don't charge for the episodes. Anyway, it's a lot of fun, and Christian goads me into doing it every time because we both know funny. That 5th episode comes up every maybe 3 times a year, months? 4 times a year.
So. Yeah.
And it just works out that way, the way these months rotate out. But anyway, we are at the end of October. Mm-hmm. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
It's just unreal. But Christian, take over.
Yes, as Gersemi said, welcome everyone. This is Coffee and Pan Dulce. I'm Christian Cano, one of your co-hosts from All Points, North Carolina, along with Gersemi. She is in West Hollywood, live from West Hollywood. And as she mentioned, this is the bonus show, the 5th show. I love that. I remember when we started that, or you started that, it was like Sunday. It's like, anyway, it's
it just started one of our many traditions. Like we're not traditional people by any measure, but we do have traditions and rituals on this show for sure. There's many recycled topics that we use every year, and we talk about a lot of the same things like we have since this started in 2018. Yeah, because honestly, there's a lot of things that need to be said, and there's different angles, and things have changed. Our country's fundamentally changed in a lot of ways since 2018, and it's kind of hard when you think about it. And I thought about this weekend. I really thought about the fundamental changes of how different our country is in the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And it's pretty remarkable because we're only a few months from 2026.
Yeah.
And
you're exactly right, Gersemi. I mean, it's amazing when I know when I look back, or we all can look back at like from our earliest shows, just all the changes, and there's so much that's changed about this country politically, and families, and so much. And I want to say, because I'm kind of culturally, exactly,
culturally,
you know what?
technology.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that real quickly, but I have to let everybody thank you for watching us. Please like us and join us and share us. And hopefully in 2026 you'll start subscribing. We'll see if we go that route. I know a lot of podcasts are now charging their viewers and listeners. I'm not sure we're at that point, but who knows? You know, we might get to the point. You know, maybe some
special bonus content.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, special bonus content. You can watch us salute like we did in the old days. There's a lot of things we used to do from the earlier shows. If you look back, maybe we'll bring some of those back in like a side camera or something. We'll have some fun things in 2026. But today's episode, I'm going to put my cheaters on for 2 reasons. If you're one of the visual supporters of our show and you actually watch us, you'll realize that I am recovering from a attack of poison ivy or poison oak. You know, I live in All Points, North Carolina, and I was doing gardening, and like a silly person, I must have touched my face somehow, and some oils got on. Yeah, so I want to apologize. So anyway, it's nothing major. It's just poison ivy. I am recovering. I've got all these wonderful medications that are going on it now. So I'm putting my cheaters on because today's title is "Where's the Beef and Soy? How tackle through farmers under the bus." Or we've debated on changing it to, what's the title? The other title you thought about? Soy.
Where's the beef and the soy boys of MAGA?
Where's the beef and the soy boys of MAGA? So we'll probably, who knows? Maybe we'll put both titles up there. But I do want to talk. Yeah, but hey, we'll do a poll. Yeah, on the. That's a great idea. Hey,
it's like a contest.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. So we're going to be talking about that, but of course we always talk about so much other. But I do want to, full disclosure, I was not completely prepared for our recordings today, and so I have stolen almost all my content from Gersemi shows that we record before this. So when you see her face go.
Grace, we're not Republicans, we're not MAGAs, so it's gracefully borrowed from a
exactly. We're recycling. I'm recycling her content.
Hey, it goes to the same cause.
That's right. All right. So before we go into it, and as Gersemi mentioned, when you watch this, it's October 29th, just a couple of days before Halloween, and Gersemi's favorite holiday. And this is the beginning of the holiday season. And I know we talked about this on one of the last shows, how I really believe in certain generations. And you mentioned definitely for the millennials and the Zs. But now I don't know if we remember this, but there's actually a generation after the Zs. It's called the Alphas.
Yeah, Generation Alpha.
Yeah, I guess.
They're the youngest ones that are coming of age.
Yeah, so, we haven't talked about them because they're still in their kids, I guess, maybe preteens or something. But anyway, that's it. I was looking up on her last show. We were talking generations, and there's the alphas that are coming out. But anywho, for many people around the country, Halloween actually is a bigger holiday for decorations, for all kinds of stuff than Christmas. So be interested to see. Maybe that would be another poll. We'll have like a whole bunch of polls. So
which one's your favorite fall holiday?
Exactly.
Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas?
Yeah,
because those are the big three. We have New Year's, we have Kwanzaa, we have Festivus. There's a lot of things, but really it fits into those because there's one of those each month of the fall. Because it's really not winter until December 21st. So Christmas is technically in winter, but it's really at the beginning. But it's the fall, beginning of the winter holiday season. And when I think about holidays, the holiday season, you really think about Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and kind of New Year's. Yeah, but it's the big three that people spend the most money on. Whether it's food, whether it's treats, whether it's costumes now, whether it's the big gift giving season, which creates Black Friday and all the shopping holidays, and with Christmas.
So I mean, which one's yours? I mean, I know which one's yours.
Oh,
Halloween.
Yeah, of course. It's not even. There's not even a close second.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this over the last, since we've had recorded our last shows. And as I've looked around, I've actually seen people who I never see decorate for Christmas, decorate for Halloween, even out here in the country.
Oh yeah.
And so I know where I lived before in South Charlotte. There was a lot more Halloween decorations than there were Christmas decorations. The Christmas decorations were very nice, but there seemed to be a lot more effort gone into the Halloween decorations.
All Hallows Eve or Halloween is especially because you have the twin, festivities. You have Halloween, obviously, and then you all have what they call All Saints Day or the Day of the Dead.
The Del Niño for the
and multiple
Spanish
cultures. November 1st is a really big day. Especially for the cultures that had Catholicism, because All Saints Day kind of morphed into other things depending on the culture. And so, 31st, being All Hallowed Eve or all, Pre-Saints Day or Pre-Saints Day Eve, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of morphed for some different festivals and things like that. And it's kind of fall. This part of fall is the end of the harvest season. People are kind of chilling out.
Yep.
And there was more seasonal work versus year-round work, before a lot of technology and stuff. And so this kind of time of the year was celebrated for a lot of reasons, because it's kind of like the break to the spring growing season for most cultures around the world. Things kind of went quiet during the winter, like late fall and all the winter was kind of a dormant time, kind of a rest up time.
And that's the community that's being hurt the most, the traditional farming community with the MAGA policies. And we're going to talk about that. But before we do, let's jump directly into Barb's current events.
And this is Barb's current events.
All right, here we go, Gersemi. I've got 3 for you. There is a influencer, a social media influencer, and I apologize, I don't remember his name, but he is his handle is New York City Gay Dad, and he talks about raising kids as a gay dad and so forth. Well, he's been doing this for a while. Where apparently this MAGA podcaster had accused him of raping his own kids. For those who have very short memory, for those who have very, very short memory, in the very, very, very recent past, it's only been quiet for a couple of months because it's now going towards immigrants, the hatred. There's a lot of hatred towards the LGBTQ communities, and there's still a lot of hatred towards the trans community as well. Yeah. But remember the words pedo were being used, and pedophiles and all, groomers and all this kind of stuff. So apparently, there was this thing with the MAGA movement where they were calling any gay parents, pedophiles. Well, the reason this is included is because now he is suing that podcaster, and he's now going to hold him accountable and liable for the words that he said and that he told his listeners. So that's the very first one. The second one, the second Barb's current event, and our favorite attorney general, sarcasm, one-eyed Ken Paxton, and the state of Texas, is going through divorce. Well, now it has been discovered he cheated on her twice.
Wow.
But not only did he cheat on her twice, this is coming out in divorce papers, it was with another Christian influencer lady who has 7 kids and was married. Well, that lady is now divorced, but apparently when she was married, she had an affair, allegedly, with one-eyed Ken Paxton. So that is just crazy. I just want to know who would sleep with this guy. But,
who would sleep with Trump?
Okay, good point. Good point. Last one. We just came off a weekend, because we do record these shows in advance. We just came off of the weekend of the No Kings March all across. It was the second No Kings March. And Gersemi makes a very good point on one of her shows that's going to be dropping about what next. Well, they are planning a third No Kings March. They don't have the date, but I completely agree with Gersemi. They need to make sure that they have an ask or a plan, and there needs to be something productive that comes out of that third march. Not just selfies, not just, the things that many of us do because we want to, kind of support the show. There needs to be something that I have registered 10 people, go out and register, make sure they bring 10 people out to vote. So there needs to be something substantial. And I'm going to steal something from her show. Our next show now is going to be titled, Is November the Democratic Recruitment Month for 2026? So we'll be talking about maybe that could be one of the things for the next No Kings March. But anywho, there is a third one then. And there were between 5 to 7 million estimated people that were marching. They were all nonviolent. The only people that were arrested, I think, were MAGA disruptors.
22 MAGAs.
Yeah. And so it's very interesting. And allegedly, Fox News was saying that George Soros paid marchers between $200 to $500 to attend these march, which would have cost billions and billions and billions of dollars. I didn't see any of that money. So, and I was at one of them.
Yeah.
So,
there wasn't
crazy.
There wasn't anybody out handing out checks. So
It's just silly. But we'll talk about that. So let me go back because okay. So you want to comment on the gay dad, Paxton cheating, or No Kings March? Take it away.
I'll start with the gay dad first. It's about time that people that have been impugned and attacked by these psychos start suing. I've said over and over again, communities affected by these mostly illegal things. You talk about illegals, you know who's the illegals is the billionaires, oligarchs, and the MAGAs in this fucking country. That's the illegals. Kudos to this gay dad to sue this motherfucker that's going after him. It's about time we paint the target on them. That's very, very important. Class action suits when it's suitable. There should be $1 trillion lawsuit from the trans community going after the Republican Party, the federal government, the AG of Texas for, violating our HIPAA rights by gathering up our names, suing states that won't release our names that got affirming care. There should be controversies. And speaking of Ken Paxton and this one-eyed jackass in Tuxles, it's crazy. In my opinion, Trump's uglier than shit. I don't know how people have slept with him or why they've slept with him, but it's pretty shocking. But speaking of that, Stormy Daniels is on tour. She's doing speaking engagements. A Night with Stormy Daniels was what it's called, which is kind of funny in itself. But she's doing these basically almost like these TED Talks, but for money. And she's made a lot of jokes because she basically calls Trump tiny. And she should know. But she has really gotten off it. But I'm sure a one-eyed Ken Paxton's probably not too far behind micro penis Trump.
That's just crazy.
But this whole, these good Christians that are philandering. You look at the sex scandals that have come out of the Republican Party. Madison Cawthorn,
either
MTG,
wife cheating, sex swapping, molestation, grooming.
It is masturbation.
It is just crazy.
It never ends with these holy rollers, and these conservatives, and these pedos, and it's just been a constant.
It's all projection.
It's all projection. It's a distraction from.
Sure.
Like we always said, they're the who farted kid of our society. The guilty scream allowance, and just like back in school, to remind people what we're referring to. I said several years ago, Republicans are the who farted kid,
and we had a show about that. The Republican MAGA is the who farted party, or something like that. I remember
in
that
elementary school. Somebody lets one loose, makes way more noise than I anticipate, and then immediately go, "Who farted?" They're looking around. And we all, the other saying is whoever smelt it, dealt it. And, that kid, projects out to other people and wants to take the blame off them by yelling out who farted because they're the ones that ripped it. And it's funny as hell. It's kind of cheeky, but Ken Paxton, he's the most guilty son of a bitch at all. He's a criminal. He's a thug. He's a philanderer. But his wife, their soon to be ex-wife, she's a creep too. So
yeah, she is. I agree with you.
That whole group, that whole lot, if they fell off the face of the earth tomorrow, wouldn't miss them.
Yeah.
Probably cheer, actually, kind of like Charlie Kirk.
Quickly, any more about No Kings? And we'll talk about it after the breaks more, because about the No Kings March.
The No Kings March, I would refer to it as a good start. And that's about what it is. It's the start of a possible movement, but it's not a movement. A movement like, Martin Luther King Jr., that movement, the HIV and AIDS advocacy and ACT Out and all that of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, those type of movements were sustainable and they got things done. We saw the Dr. King's marches and the marches on Selma and stuff like that really affect public policy so much so the Southern Democrat Lyndon Baines Johnson passed a lot of civil rights things, mainly because of the influence and the fear that the democracy be forever changed too much if they don't acknowledge racism. I don't necessarily think Lyndon Baines Johnson would have done that if there wasn't that influence and so much organization and so much bravery on predominantly black churches and people of color in the South especially, but actually all over the country too, including in California. But this movement is nowhere near that. It's still got remnants of more like the failed women's movement and the Women's March and the Me Too group that did nothing. They squandered all their momentum because they quit the moment Biden took office. They didn't sustain anything. It was terrible. And the Black Lives Matter and Rodney King movement from the summer of 2020, it never really made it past Labor Day, and it died off very quickly. It was really like a fart in a skillet, and it just doesn't really exist anymore. You haven't heard a thing about it in 5 years. No Kings has the potential to be that, and I'm afraid that's what it's going to be because there's no real call to action. There was no real. The first one I could understand just built the movement. You know, it got the launch going. The second one should have had more meat and potatoes to it. It should have had more. Okay, this is what we need to do in November. We need to get serious because we're a year from midterms. We need to have the eye on the prize, and it just didn't happen, and that was very, very disappointing. And I said this for a while about the No Kings March, and I'm going to be blunt. I didn't participate in either one of the No Kings marches because I feel like it's a waste. I will be honest. I wasted a lot of time with the women's marches. I went to 3 different BLM marches with Christian, and they were a waste. They didn't get anything done. They didn't hold any water, and they didn't hold any momentum. And the No Kings March, I'm done with politics for the most part, other than the show, for this very reason. It's all for a coat, no trousers type situation. All hat, no cattle situation, where it's a lot of flash in the pan. But the problem with liberals and Democrats is no follow-up. We lost momentum after 2020. We've lost momentum after Obama. And we have failed this country over and over again as we've elected 2 of the dumbest presidents ever in this century with George W. Bush and Dumpster. And it's primarily because our movements suck. We pull up short. And we need to be ashamed of ourselves. Because this costs us dearly between lucrative wars for money and profits with the 9/11 wars, which is really why George W. Bush got elected,
Yeah.
And now with dumpster, this America First, when it's anything but, is it's scurrilous. Trump and his presidencies have accumulated more debt than any American president in history. They've run our ship aground.
Okay.
And it's a pure cash grab and a absolutely inept failure on Trump's part.
Okay. Well, listen, I want to talk about the No Kings March also, because I have this theory, and I'm curious what you have to your input on that. But before we talk about that, let's go into our first break. We'll be right back on Coffee and Pan Dulce right after this.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching the Florida shows. They've been wildly successful. Obviously, it's a topic that you guys have enjoyed and wanted to know more of. And we like talking about the dumpster fire that used to be the state of Florida. And we'll probably talk about it some more this summer. Thanks for watching, y'all.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for watching.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching. And support local Black and brown businesses, including our sponsor, Manolo's Bakery. That has some fabulous pastries, food, king cakes, all kinds of specialty cakes, swallows, and much, much more. Some of the best food you eat in Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, Manolo's Bakery, right here in East Charlotte. Thanks for watching. Hey, y'all. You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and your favorite audio podcast platforms. You can catch your special editions of Coffee and Pan Dulce, as always. And we appreciate y'all listening. And we're going to do more episodes. We're going to do some zany things in 2025. And most of all, we're going to have lots of fun, as always. Thanks for listening. And look for the new shouts. Appreciate it.
Hey everybody, hope you're enjoying the Coffee and Pan Dulce Show. This is me, Urense, a new host here at the Cannis Media shows. I will be doing the new show, Espera Que, here every Thursdays at 7 p.m. on your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you like to listen to. So, hope to see you on my show and hope you have a wonderful day.
So we have a great fall lineup, and we encourage you to tune in to many of our fabulous shows, like our Say show, and many more things in October and November as well. Thanks for watching, as always, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you everybody for watching Coffee and Pan Dulce. Jenny and Chris had an amazing talk right there, and this is Urense from Espera Que. Our show is on Thursdays, 7 p.m. on every podcast places you get podcasts, podcasts, brain fart. But if you want to listen to me doing brain farts and having hot takes and leftist takes and just screaming at the shitty burning world we are living in, come over to Espera Que. You're going to have a fun time.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching our spring shows and sticking with us. And we've got a fabulous summer lineup. I hope y'all are excited as I am. And let's enjoy our summers. Hot Girl Summer 2024. See y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So I want to continue on the No Kings March, because I think, Gersemi, you have a very valid point that I think that anyone who wants this regime to change has to kind of examine. But before we do, the beef prices and the soy prices are just crazy. I know you touched this on one of your shows. I can't remember if it's the first or the second show we recorded this morning about the beef prices, that Taco's thinking about subsidizing Argentinian beef or giving them money for beef or something, which is really, really upsetting the Texas Beef Cattle Association, the Nebraska Beef Cattle Association. What you mentioned is what you would think would be your typical MAGA kind of profile type of individual.
It is.
But also here in the state of North Carolina, we are the state of North Carolina is the highest producing soybean farm production of the Northeast. I don't know who represents the East Coast. There's one on the West Coast, and maybe Nebraska. I don't know who's growing more soybean.
Nebraska.
But apparently, because of the tariffs, China has bought zero soybeans since I can't remember since when, and that is they're estimating $5 billion in losses for soybean farmers, which is averaging between $100 to $200 an acre, which is a huge loss for small farmers, family farmers.
It's even worse than that. And this is something that's the hidden part of the economy.
Sure.
But it's also part of the big lie.
Yeah.
The biggest thing with migrant workers, whether they're documented or undocumented, is they pay a lot in local taxes, like sales tax, property tax, because they
rent houses, they buy cars,
they contribute,
they buy groceries
to the local. They contribute more than they take because they're not eligible.
They can't get anything back. Exactly.
Unless they become a citizen, and so they're a low cost, high profit margin for local, state, and even federal governments, and the migrant workers are the backbone of the United States. It's how we built this country, is migrant workers, to be honest. And when you're talking about this, Nebraska is on such a state tax shortfall because of this lack of economic activity. They're looking at bankruptcy. Well, a MAGA state that's predominantly Republican, with pretty much every office holder in that state primarily being Republican, is a dumpster fire, and it's directly because of Donald J. Trump and the embargo of the American soy crops. With that contract, that multi-year $1 billion, $5 billion contract to the American farmers, China is not going to buy one red cent from us. And it's gonna they've shifted because other countries make soy. We're not the only country.
They're my understanding is what's happening. My understanding. Yeah, exactly. What's happening is a lot of these farmers, especially in, as you mentioned, Nebraska and a lot of that the Midwest area, that they already have a surplus of corn, so their silos are already full of corn. And whenever they have a surplus, they put the corn in there, so that way they wait to the next buying season in case they don't produce as much, and they try to keep prices balanced. Well, now because there's so much soy, they don't have any place to put the soy. So it's like a double whammy. Not only is no one buying the soy, they have no place to even put the soy, and then it also impacts the ability to buy equipment, the ability to pay their loans, the ability to. There's so much stuff. Well, I can just give you an anecdotal example, and then we'll go to our talk about the No Kings March real quickly. Where I live in All Points, North Carolina, there's a lot of family farms around me. And some of these family farms have tried their best to diversify. They have they grow row crops, which is soy. And so they have if you go anywhere around here, all you see is beautiful soy. Now it's drying because it dries a little bit before they actually harvest it, but it's really dry now because they haven't harvested it. And so this is not the type of soy that you would eat like for edamame or something. This is the soy that they use for feed and so forth, and they make into all kinds of products and so forth. Well, some of these family farms here also have cattle, and they do that so that way they can be diversified. And then they also have chicken houses. So they have about 3 type of things that have their family, be able to live off of. So the soy crops, they have lost their pants on. They've been able to at least stay above water a little bit because the cattle prices have gone so high that it's very profitable. But they don't have enough land out here to have cattle like in Texas, where they have herds and herds of cattle. It's only a small amount of cattle, so it's not like they can sell all their cattle, to make the money off of it. If he does this for Argentina, that's going to drop the cattle prices dramatically, or the meat prices dramatically. And they're going to, not only they're going to lose on the soy, but they're also going to lose on the cattle. The only third option is chicken. And the chicken, because of the bird flu thing that happened a year ago, and they're still recovering from the bird flu and a lot of other things, those chickens have not matured enough yet to be harvested, so to speak, and there's not enough in the system. So they are in very serious crises here. I have seen, I know this is anecdotal, 2 family farms that up until 2 months ago had Trump signs out of their farms. Since I've been maybe 10 years since the first election, 2 months ago, over in midnight, woke up one day, we're driving out, They're no longer there. I'm not saying that they have been frustrated with Trump, but I'm saying that they know the impact of this. And so I know that's an anecdotal thing, but it's really impacting. And I'm glad that you brought it up on your show.
Well, it's a measurable thing. It's something that it's public. You know, he announced the tariffs. You know, it's a public record. All this stuff is commodities too, like beef and agricultural products are also traded on the stock exchange, on the commodities markets is what they call them. And all these are commodities: pork bellies, chicken, beef. All agricultural products are traded on the commodity market or the stock exchange. And so these are things, especially if you live in a rural area, like I've lived in Lubbock before, and the local news talks about the commodity markets almost every day.
Exactly.
I mean, that's like a very important thing for that local area.
It's like, now here's weather, here's sports, here's commodity.
Especially the noon news. If you watch the noon news, they would tell us pretty much they dedicated an entire section to that was longer than the weather, because it's a very important thing, because almost all businesses in Lubbock, Texas, for example, just the way Omaha, Nebraska is, and every other rural city is dependent on agriculture in this country. We're a huge agricultural provider. One, because we have 330 million people in our population, so we like to grow our own food and produce and stuff. But two, people get paid to do this, and all along the supply chain. And when that supply chain gets interrupted, because massive crops like the soy market, for example, is a massive cash crop for American farmers. And when one country that buys, because soy makes tofu, it makes soy sauce. There's a lot in the.
I think China's like 46% of soy is in the world is bought from China.
Yeah, because
that's incredible.
China has a twofold thing. They have a huge population where they can't provide all their own food themselves. They got 1.5 billion people, which is 5 times America's population, with the same land mass. So they have to buy foreign food products to feed that many people. Second of all, they use soy in a lot of their diet for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of vegans in China. Culturally speaking, it's a lot of fish. It's a lot of poultry. They're not big beef eaters. They're not big pork eaters. Only American Chinese food uses a lot of that. But most of that country lives in some sort of working poor poverty line. And so they're going to eat the cheapest things, which are soy-based products, a lot of basic things like rice, that sort of thing. And so they can produce a lot of rice because of their agriculture and because they have to. But soy is one of those things they almost have to soy doesn't really grow there, so they have to import it from somewhere. And the 2 biggest soy producers in the world is the United States and Russia.
Yeah.
Well, they don't really like Russia. They don't trust Russia traditionally. But they're having to buy fuel and soy from Russia because we keep fucking with them during the Trump years, and they keep embargoing us. And it's going to be to the point where they're never going to buy from us again.
Yeah, I mean,
this year, $5 billion that was in a contract, a promised contract, $0.0. A $5 billion loss to the American economy. Has happened because of Trump and his tariffs, and
it's crazy.
It's the reaction.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're kind of running out of time for this actual show, so we may talk about the No Kings a little bit more on the next episode, which drops on November the 5th. But I want to pose this question to our viewers and listeners, and maybe Gersemi and I can friendlily debate this topic about the No Kings. I have come to the thinking that what's wrong with the Democratic Party in 2025 is that we have not acknowledged, and I don't know how it can be done, that we are not we are like 5 fingers of one party. What I mean by that is that the current MAGA party, the Republican Party, the reason they seem to be more cohesive is because they're white. They're white. A lot of their policies are underlined with bigotry and racism. And that's really the only two. It's not because fiscal conservatism. We've learned that with Trump, because he's not really a fiscal conservative at all. It has to do with, it has to do with being white and a lot of bigotry. They justify it by other, they go backwards. This is what it is, but I'm going to justify it because, this must be good because we can keep the blacks out. We can get the immigrants out, the gays out, the trans people out. So that's my thing. For our party,
especially if you're a young Republican.
Republican. For the Democratic Party, because I am a Democrat, you have the African American black kind of movement, so to speak, within our party. You have the LGBT movement. You have a women's movement. You have more of a moderate movement. And then you have a lot of the people that were at this event, the No Kings, the people who truly believe in democracy. They tend to be more privileged white people, maybe old hippies, who have the luxury of that is their only concern is democracy. It's not eating. It's not healthcare. It's not reproductive rights. It's not being a trans person. They have the luxury if that's really their biggest concern. And so as a result of that drives them.
If you're a well-paid or well-to-do professional or investor or whatever, you don't really have financial concerns. So,
exactly.
MAGAs tend to earn less. They tend to be in rural, more poor areas.
Sure.
Democrats, there is a part of what MAGA says that we are an elite party from the fact that we're more educated and wealthier.
Sure.
The problem with Democrats is that we do eat our own in a lot of ways. We've fallen into the trap that if a candidate's not perfect, they're not worthy of supporting. We don't support progress over. We support perfection over progress, and it should be the opposite.
Well, that's my point. That's my point, Gersemi. And I want to talk about it on the next show, but I just kind of want to plant this seed with the viewers and listeners, and maybe you as well, so we can kind of talk about this. Is it possible that our party, the reason we're failing is because we always try one message? We're looking for one message, and we maybe need to look for 5 different messages. We need to go after the LGBT community separately than we do the women's. There has to be maybe 5 different marches, 5 different things, because if you just go after the No Kings thing, you're going to upset a lot of the reason I'm saying this is because anecdotally, when I was at this No Kings protest, I heard the chants, but there was free healthcare for all, reproductive women rights, immigrants for free. These are completely different messages for a black person. Their message is very different than, let's say, a trans person or a woman's productive. You would think logically that we would care about all of them, but I think what we've learned is people have just 1 or 2 things that are important to them, and those are important to them. All the other things that go along, even though it impacts them, they don't seem to come out for it. So I'm curious if what needs to be done is the party needs to be able to have a message that attracts this person, a message that attracts this person. There has to be some commonality. We're all Democrats, but I'm not sure how to explain that. But when you were talking about how there doesn't seem to be one cohesive message, I don't think there can be anymore because the party is so diverse. What would the message be?
You're talking about 2 different things.
Okay.
In fact, I completely disagree with that statement.
Okay.
The most successful Democrat presidential candidates had a central thing. It's the economy, stupid, Bill Clinton.
Sure.
And kind of the sub one was the man from Hope.
Sure.
I feel your pain. Those statements really don't mean anything per se.
Yeah.
But they're one-liners that the typical MAGA movement, Reagan would use, that sort of thing. The reason why movements are successful is their simplicity.
Sure.
First of all, the United States is the trailer park of the world. We are based on 5-second sound bites, 30-second sound bites, commercials. We have a very short attention span.
Sure.
The more complicated you make things, like Medicare for All, their message is so convoluted. We're trying to use logic and reason with a group of people that are going, go get them, George. Let's go blow up the world.
Yeah.
We are those people, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. when they play Lee Greenwood's God Bless America and everybody gets all teary-eyed, we are those 4th of July rednecks. Okay. That's who we are as a nation. Sure. Black, white, brown, gay, doesn't matter. As a collective, that's who we are. Short attention span, trailer trash.
Okay.
The audacity of hope for Obama. Build Back Better, Biden. And the two candidates in this century, the three candidates that lost, all ran intellectual campaigns. Harris, Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Gore lost for these reasons. They were intellectuals. They came off as intellectuals. They came off as elitists. They came off as, I'm better than you.
Sure.
But they also had a very muddled message. What was Hillary's central message? Besides the really stupid-looking glass ceiling that shattered behind her on the giant screen to say she shattered the glass ceiling. What was Harris's message? I'm speaking. You know, what was her central message?
Well, but I would argue, Gersemi, that you are proving my point.
No, they didn't have a central message.
No, exactly. And because they didn't have a central message, it is so difficult to have a central message in 2025 as a Democrat. But it's very easy as a Republican and a MAGA because they're simpletons.
But we did it in 2008.
Yes,
but that's my 2020.
But that's my point. My point is, I'm not sure, and maybe we can talk about this on the next show because that's really the topic about recruiting candidates for 2026. I'm not sure that's possible anymore. I'm wondering if the landscape has changed so much, and that our base, the base voters have changed so much that no candidate is ever going to be able to succeed like Obama did, like even Biden did in 2020. I think they're going to have to be different. They're going to have to be more like, and I don't know this, but this is because it's the only person that I know, Gavin Newsom or the governor of Illinois, or maybe even Jasmine. She doesn't, like Jasmine Crockett doesn't have a message. The only message she has is constantly pushing back against Trump.
But that is the central message.
Okay, well then that's a good point. Yeah,
I think we have to have a consistent theme. We got to pick a theme on the horizon or a target on the horizon and sail towards that.
Like you mentioned on your show, do better. America, do better.
But we have to be clear. We have to state our case. What was Harris's case last year? What is, because everybody saw Harris's presidential candidacy is basically Biden was too old to run. She was the second choice. Yeah. And she's just going to show up to be the substitute teacher. But Harris was literally just a substitute teacher of presidential candidates. Tom Ford was in 1976, and both of those people lost in an embarrassing level. She failed to resonate with Democrats because, honestly, she was not inspirational. Yeah, she was catty. She was. You can say our country is still very sexist and racist. That was part of the problem too. But the truth was, Jasmine Sherman, for example, is a black woman from Texas. She should be unelectable. But she's electable in a very toss-up district. Sure. Because of her messaging. And it's a very central message. It's about accountability. She holds people's feet to the fire. She's a firebrand politician.
That's an excellent point.
What people want to see is leadership. Yeah. They want you to stand up and be the loudest voice in the room, but they're going, they're fighting for me.
That's a good point. That's an excellent point. Let's save that thought. We're going to go to the second show. We're going to take our we've gone over, but we're going to take our last break and then come right back for about 2 minutes. We'll be right back on Coffee and Pan Dulce right after this.
Hey, thanks for listening to us as always on Coffee and Pan Dulce. And just to let you know, we're on all the audio podcast platforms. So working out or whatever, you can just listen to us. Or if you want to see our bright, shiny faces, we're on YouTube and Facebook. You can even be fans and you can comment on our shows on the Facebook platform and drown out people who don't actually listen to the show but like to fly us. But anyway, we appreciate y'all and very much, and keep on listening so that Christian and I are just not sitting here talking to ourselves. Have a great year.
Hey everybody, hope you're enjoying the Coffee and Pan Dulce Show. This is I, your Insei, one of the new hosts here at Cannis Media, doing a new show, Espera Que. Where here I am talking all the great issues that are happening in our great country here in the USA of 2025. I'm mostly going to be working and talking about Latino men issues, but I hope anyone can come by and hear me rant about how annoying our government is. We will be here every Thursdays at 7 p.m. Hope to hear from y'all soon, and see you at my show.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching our Coffee and Pan Dulce show every week. Don't forget you can watch us visually on our video podcast platforms on Facebook and YouTube, but you can also listen to us on your favorite audio podcast platforms like Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and all of the other ones that your favorite, whatever your favorite is. Once again, thank you for watching us on Coffee and Pan Dulce. We'll dance out.
Hi everybody, this is your Insei from the Espera Que show over here. All I'm here is doing a little quick PSA. Use this summer to do volunteer work. Go to your nearest YMCA, go to your nearest homeless shelter, go to whatever community services or programs that you can help out and volunteer. Because right now, we have a bunch of fascist pieces of shit trying to rip apart our country and rip apart the people, our communities by spreading hate and bigotry. The best way to combat it is, one, working in your community and standing strong to show that you are strong and you're here to help out others. Two, combat misinformation. If you hear bullshit, first research and make sure if it's true or not. If it is not true, call it out. If it is true, get the facts. Be knowledgeable of it because it might come out later. So always stand against that. And three, fuck fascists. Stand against them. Make them feel uncomfortable. There is too many people out there feeling like they can say the hard R or say slurs or be violent. Make them understand that a lot of people die to make sure this hatred and bigotry does not exist. All our civil rights workers, all the people who restored normity, everybody who fought against intolerance and hatred, they died and worked their asses off to stop this. So follow in their footsteps and stop this madness. This is your Insei again from Espera Que, and all I can say is be there for your community and stand up for what's right. Fuck fascism and have a wonderful day.
Hey y'all, thanks as always for listening to Coffee and Pan Dulce. And guess what? As part of our Cannis Media family of shows, we have a sister show that's been running alongside the Coffee Show for 6 years, 6 seasons. And it's Two Queers in a Truck. In fact, we've been on air, as it says right behind Christian, as we record this, in case you're watching the video version of this. It's exciting. It's a little different. It comes more from, obviously, the queer perspective because it's Two Queers in a Truck. And we invite you to listen to it. You don't have to be queer to listen. And I promise it most likely will not give you scabies. I can't 100% verify that, but it's just a medical rumor started by me, actually. But anyway, come out and check us out on our sister show, Two Queers in a Truck, and all the exciting 2025 news shows on the Cannis Media family. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Up next is Two Queers in a Truck with Jenny and Christian. And hope you guys tune in. We'll see you in about 15 to 20 minutes. Thank you. Bye.
Welcome back, everyone. Hey, listen, this has been a great conversation. Gersemi and I don't live in the same state anymore, so we don't get to have these conversations. So I apologize if it seems like we're just talking to each other on this episode. But we're going to jump directly into the Pendejo Chronicles. And this is the Pendejo Chronicles. All right, the Pendejo of the week is Ken Paxton. Ken Paxton busted for his second cheating. I don't even know how to, it just blows my mind. This is the guy who's divorcing his wife and she's now throwing all the dirt out in the divorce, which is, it's going to hurt both of them, which is, I'm wonderful. These two people, when we lived in the state of Texas, he was our state house representative and our state senator. And everyone knew he was scum then, because him and his wife had founded this mega church there. So they're supposed to be this really big Christians, and they were trying to get fluoride banned in the water in McKinney, Texas, because they said that, it was bad for you and all this kind of stuff. So these are a little bit kooky. So anyway, they win the Pendejo of the week. Here's the Jenny Award.
And this is the Jenny Award.
All right. I'm going to give the Jenny Award, and I know Gersemi may not agree with me on this one. I'm going to give the Jenny Award to all of those who attended the No Kings March this weekend. Between 5 to 7 million people decided on a Saturday with college football on to actually go out and, and spend some time out there. Now, there are a lot of people who felt like it was not, as Gersemi has mentioned, there are a lot of people who just do who activate in different ways. Not everyone has to go to a march. That's not necessary. You can do it. Gersemi does activism in her own different ways, and activism in her own different ways. But I do want to give a thank you to those who actually came out, because it did make the news in a very positive way. I know they're trying to spin it, that everyone's being paid. But more importantly, for a lot of these voters, not me, for a lot of these voters that went out there, especially up in the mountains where I was at, a lot of the older voters, I think they needed to see that other people were still engaged, because they don't have maybe the communication that we do on social media. And so, I heard one older couple say, God, it's so great to see all these people out here. And I'm in the mountains, and there were at least 2,000 people. It was a lot of people. So anyway, I do want to give them a Jenny Award.
Huge.
We're going to continue. Yeah, go ahead.
Huge crowds everywhere, and even in foreign countries too. People are fed up, in maybe a year or two late, but I wish I would have seen this kind of momentum.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we have to do things like this that are the first steps.
Exactly. No, you have an excellent point there.
These are first steps to get people activated. They do have to tie into positive steps that actually build towards an actual political change. And the way you change it is you put new people in seats.
Sure.
And you take things like a Republican majority in the Senate and the House next year. You change governors. There's so many governors up for re-election next year, or they've been termed out, like in California and Florida. Yeah. We're going to have a brand new governor no matter which party wins next year in Florida and California. And with Texas, they don't have term limits for the governorship. Yeah. So Hot Wheels Abbott will probably run again. I'm sure he hasn't announced yet, but imagine he's going to roll on.
What else is he going to do?
Yeah, you pop wheelies without a job. What else? He's not fit to do anything else.
I had a really bad joke, but I don't want to. Be canceled here.
So. You better be careful with tasteless jokes and phrases. We don't want to get you canceled again.
That's right.
But, I can make fun of the handicap because I am handicapped, but I don't know if you should. But there is a lot of important things next year that will greatly affect not only national stuff, but local stuff and state level stuff. That these elections matter because honestly, it stops and starts with the local deals. Sure. And this is why these local marches that are nationally coordinated are so important, is because it inspires people.
Sure.
Presidential movements like Obama being elected started with stuff like this. And this is the great way to get grassroots movements going. Now, the best grass movements have calls to action.
Sure.
That's where my hesitation is with this thing.
Yeah.
Is how much of it is people are fed up, but are they going to take the next steps?
Sure.
Is there going to be enough people to take the next steps to keep the momentum going? Because really, right now, it's easy to get out and do something like this now because there's no major elections this year. But next year is when we need this to come to a head. And hopefully it does not fizzle out before November 2026, because that is a very important time. As the primaries this next spring, the general elections next fall are huge on how our country looks in 2027 and 2028. It will make a difference.
All right. We're going to talk about that in depth. That's going to be the title of our next show about this month of November. Should be the month for recruiting good Democrats and getting ready for 2026. As Gersemi says, start now. Let's not wait. Let's continue what's going on. Yeah, exactly. And then I want to pick her brain about the messaging thing, because she just opened my eyes on a lot of the messaging. So I hope you enjoyed the show. I want to thank you. I hope you had a wonderful October. When we see you next, it will be November. On November the 5th will be probably the day after a lot of local municipal elections. We won't know the wins, but I'm sure it'll be a progressive movement all across America.
So we'll do a special edition.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, good idea.
We might do it.
Remember, we used to do that. Remember, we used to do that back in the day. Remember back in the day, we had all the candidates on and everything. All right, we'll have to do that again. Yeah, all right. Thank y'all. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, y'all. Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching Coffee Pan Dulce on this eve of Halloween Eve. And be safe out there. There's going to be a lot of partying. It is a party holiday, especially in the early evening when it gets a little darker. There may be some people that start a little early because it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And it is a Friday night, so just be careful out there, especially if you have little ghouls and goblins. And just be smart, be safe, have a good time. In this time and era, and Jeff Tiedrick talks about it in his blog at the very end every time, take time for self-care, enjoyment, enjoy life. Life is beautiful when you let it be. And hope you guys, I'll see you in November on the flip side, as well as Christian. And as always, thanks for watching. Without y'all, Christian and I'd be just talking to ourselves. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Okay.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening to Coffee Pan Dulce. And one of our big things is that if you missed any of our other shows, we are on Facebook, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple for the most part, and a bunch of other audio podcast platforms. So if you've missed us, come back. The water's fine. Dip on in. It's 85 degrees here in my imagination. But anyway, we have 332 episodes in the tank. You can pull up any of them. And most of all, we have fresh ones dropping most weeks. And we got 3 more shows coming. Be excited. But as always, thanks for listening to Coffee Pan Dulce. And look forward to the 2025 season. Thanks, y'all.
Hiya.
Next up, thanks for watching Coffee Pan Dulce. Next up is 2 Queers and a Track. Stay tuned.
Coffee Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee Pan Dulce.
Sounds great.
You sounded like a telenova. I mean,
I'm trying to. All I have to say is go. Yes.
As a non-Spanish speaker.
Okay, Jim, when we come back, we're going to talk very briefly about the beef and the soy prices, and then let's dig maybe a little bit deeper into the No King's March, maybe what can be done with that. All right. We're going to just jump directly in Pendejo and Jen, and then we'll end the show because we got to do the second show.
Yep.
Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. Hey, listen, this has been a great conversation. Gersemi and I don't live in the same state anymore, so we don't get to have these conversations. So I apologize if it seems like we're just talking to each other on this episode. But we're going to jump directly into the Pendejo Chronicles.
Coffee Pan Dulce. How's that? Coffee Pan Dulce.